Today we are going to continue with complex fractions, but they look a little bit different than what we saw yesterday. Yesterday, if you remember, we were looking at really just one numerator that needed to be simplified with one denominator. Today, you can notice that it really is a fraction within a fraction within a fraction within a fraction, and there's looks like quite a few numerators and denominators. And so what we're going to do to simplify this is we actually need to start from the bottom and work our way toward the top. Let me go ahead and get my pen, sorry. Try this again. So what I want us to focus on is down at the bottom. It's sort of like we're going to work our way up and left and up and left and up and left all the way until we get to that top one. And remember, a fraction is a division problem, so you're going to notice that we're doing quite a bit of division. But you might also see a pattern happening as we're doing this division. So where we're going to start is at the denominator here with 1 plus 1/3. Now, some of you can do this in your head and just make it a mixed number. If you have 1 whole and 1/3, you've got 1 and 1/3. But since we are going to be dividing, we do not want to be dealing with mixed numbers. We want to be looking at improper fractions. So you can write 1 and 1/3 down at first, but we need to convert that into 4/3. And really what I do, and it sort of can get a little messy, is I kind of scratch out what I have dealt with and replace it with what it simplifies to be. Now you can rewrite it over and over again, but what I'm saying is I sort of say 1 and 1/3 is equivalent to 4/3. And I'm replacing with that. Sometimes actually if you rewrite it in pencil, you can erase and replace. And you're going to continue. Now you look over to the left, there's nothing else that needs to be simplified, so we're going to look up. And if you look here, we've got 1, then you've got your fraction bar, and then you've got 4/3. So if we were to write that out, it's 1 divided by 4/3. And we know our rule for dividing fractions is keep the first one, change it into multiplication, flip the second one, because we want to multiply by the reciprocal. So 1 divided by 4/3, which is this part right here, has now been replaced with 3/4. Because 1 divided by 4/3 is the same thing as 1 times 3/4, which is just 3/4. So I'm just going to replace it with 3/4. Now I'm just going to extend this fraction bar out so you see it's still in that denominator, but if you look over here to the left, now you see 2 plus 3/4 that needs to be simplified. And again, you can turn this into fourths, or you can just think, okay, 2 plus 3/4 is 2 3/4, and then turn that into the improper fraction, which is 11/4. So all of this right here, 2 plus 3/4, now has been replaced with 11/4. There's nothing else on this level, so I'm going to look up. Now we've got 1 divided by 11/4. We're going to keep, change, and flip, and think about 1 times 4/11 is 4/11. So I'm going to replace all of this, I know it gets a little messy, with 4/11. I've got 1 plus 4/11, which again, you can just combine it to be 1 and 4/11. That ends up turning into the mixed number of 15/11. And then we've simplified all of this to be 15/11. This is where we are now. We've got 1 divided by 15/11. 1 divided by 15/11. is keep, change, flip, 11/15ths. Whew, that was a lot of work. So that fraction within a fraction within a fraction within a fraction all simplifies to be 11/15ths. Now before you panic, let's try another example. Because the more you practice, the more you see, the easier this will come to you. So again, if you want to, and I'm going to show you how you can erase and replace, and it's not as messy as scribbling things out. If you just rewrite this in pencil on your paper, -1 divided by 2 plus 1 divided by 2 plus 1 divided by 1 plus 1/2. Now I can show you how it's a little bit neater as you simplify your erasing and replacing, and the original problem's still there. Okay, so down in the denominator, we are going to start with 1 plus 1/2. 1 plus 1/2 is 1 1/2. Let me go ahead and break up this page, which simplifies to be the improper fraction of 3/2. So that means take your eraser, erase 1 plus 1/2, and replace it with 3/2. Now, there's nothing to the left of that 3/2, so we need to look up. We need to simplify 1 divided by 3/2. You know our rule for dividing is keep, change, flip. So 1 divided by 3/2 is the same thing as 1 times 2/3, which is 2/3. So that means everything I just highlighted on there can be erased, and we can replace it with 2/3. Now we've got to simplify 2 plus 2/3. Two plus 2/3 is 2 2/3, or 8/3 when you turn it into an improper fraction. So we're going to erase and replace with 8/3. Now you want to look up. We've got 1 divided by 8/3. Our rules for division say we need to keep, change, flip. 1 times 3/8 is just 3/8. So I'm going to erase and replace with 3/8. We're almost done. We're almost there. Now we want to focus on 2 plus 3/8, which you can probably see is 2 3/8. Down a little bit. 2 3/8 simplifies to be 19/8. So I erase and replace. And our final step, because it's getting a little messy, I'm going to change colors, is -1 divided by 19/8. Keep, change, flip. Our final simplified answer is -8/19. Okay, so you can see how this got a little messy over here. I really suggest that you rewrite the problem in pencil carefully and then erase and replace as you go along. Now turn in your page, turn in your packet to two more pages and find this worksheet, Complex Fractions Homework Day 2. This actually isn't tonight's homework, it was just extra practice. And I'd like you to pause the video and try example number 1. And after you're done with example number 1, unpause it and let's see how you did. Okay, so I just rewrote it so I can erase and replace with what it simplifies to be. 1 and 1/2 simplifies to 1 and 1/2. 1 plus 1/2 is 1 and 1/2, which is also 3/2. So I'm going to erase this and replace it with 3/2. Now I'm looking up. I've got 1 divided by 3/2. You probably are starting to see what's happening when we take 1 and divide it by something. It's the same thing as 1 times 2/3. Erase and replace. Now we've got this 2 plus 2/3, which is 2 and 2/3. That simplifies to be 8/3. Erase and replace. Whoops. And our final step is -1 divided by 8/3, which is the same thing as keep, change, flip. -3/8 is your simplified answer. Again, if you want to try example 2, go ahead and pause the video and pick back up with it when you're ready. If we start down in the denominator, 2 plus 1/2 is 2 and 1/2, which is the same thing as 5/2. So I'm just going to change that to be a 5. Now we're going to focus on the 1 divided by 5/2, which is equivalent to 1 times 2/5, which is just 2/5. So all of this is now simplified to be 2/5. Now you've got 1 plus 2/5, which is 1 and 2/5, or 7/5. Now you look up. 1 divided by 7/5 is the same thing as 1 times 5/7. So we can simplify all of this to be 5/7. 1 plus 5/7 is 1 and 5/7, or 12/7. So our final step is 1 divided by 12/7, which is the same thing as 1 times 7/12. There you go. I'm just going to very quickly give you the answer to 3 and 4 so you can check it. So you can pause this and work 3 and 4. So let's see, 2 and 1/5 is 10 11/5. 1 divided by 11/5 is 5/11. 1 plus 5/11 is 1 and 5/11, which is 16/11. 1 divided by 16/11 is 11/16. That's your answer. Over for number 4, 1 plus 1/6 is 1 and 1/6, or 7/6. Go up, 1 divided by 7/6 is 6/7. Oh, my pen. 6/7. 1 plus 6/7 is 1 and 6/7, or 12/7. 1 divided by 12/7 is 7/12. 1 plus 7/12 is 1 and 7/12, or 19/12. And then finally, -1 divided by 19/12 is the same thing as -1 times 12/19, which is -12/19. Okay, your homework for tonight is actually the quiz review. No, test review, sorry. But if you have questions on complex fractions, we will certainly talk about these more tomorrow. Okay.